What's up, everybody? Monday night, it's Terra time. And I don't know where I came up with these things. I come up with these things.
I just don't understand. Like, I make an original joke 5 minutes ago in the lobby, and then you steal it at the start of the show. I just tweeted out that this is going to be the stream of the year, and we are off to a bang of a start.
Honestly, I know you're not going to believe this. I think you'll believe this. Actually, I didn't even mean to like rip you off because Heath said before the stream started, he's like, I say it's Terra time every Monday night, and so do I guess. It was just, but maybe you just planted it in my head a little bit. Anyway, welcome everybody, and welcome Terra. Good evening. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. I appreciate all the love from both of you.
Who do we like tonight? Jets and Chargers.
Oh, I like the Chargers.
So I think the Chargers are certainly the better team, and their quarterback is infinitely better. But this feels like the kind of game the Chargers lose and the Jets win. I'm kind of expecting some chargering in the fourth quarter.
I was talking to my friend; he's a Jets fan, and we do like a meter for how excited we are for games. And he said he's like an 8.5, and he said every time I'm above an 8 for the Jets, they lose. So I actually think this is the kind of game the Jets lose because this is a huge game for them.
And I guess that's the thing is like it does seem like there's a lot of people who are kind of excited about the Jets, and that's usually when they lose. So they win when we're all making fun of them. But both could happen. Zach Wilson could throw a pick six, get a sack fumble. They're down by 2 scores in the fourth quarter, and then some charging.
Well, I'll tell you too. I saw a comment earlier while we were doing Beyond the Box Score. Someone said, Heath, Terra, and Adam bullied me into dropping Keaton Mitchell last week. So we're gonna have to do a little better. That's what they said. I guess we said that on Monday night. That's what they said.
No, I mean, I would not be. I think we may have laughed at somebody for asking. It's possible.
He was very droppable.
I apologize.
Yeah. All right. So Terra, what's your read on the waiver wire? How big of a priority is Mitchell for you? Is there anyone else you want to get?
Yeah, there's a couple other people. I will say with Mitchell, it's funny because the video went out today on 3 waiver wire picks short video. You can find it on I guess every FFT platform. But yeah, I got a little bit of feedback on that regarding Keaton Mitchell that a lot of people don't really believe that he's of value to kind of put in a claim here because he's stuck in a committee, which I found interesting because I feel like, yes, it's a committee, but Lamar Jackson has been running a lot less over the past 5 games in terms of actual touchdowns. Those have gone to, they're bringing in, the running backs right there at the goal line in order to get those touchdowns. And the value has been there for those guys. So when I'm looking at Keaton Mitchell and him being so explosive, the touches that he's essentially guaranteed to get now, the confirmation that he's in a 3-man committee, that's a good sign that he's breaking into it like that. So I'm looking at it on the positive side of him breaking into the committee, the most explosive back in the backfield, going to have those opportunities. So I'm in on him. Also like Joshua Dobbs this week if you need a streaming quarterback.
Yeah, I don't know. Like the whole he's in a committee feedback is who's not. Yeah, like we've got maybe 8 workhorse running backs in the NFL. And then like Jahmyr Gibbs, we are expecting is going right back into a committee, maybe touching the ball 10 times, 12 times a game. We hope for 15 sometimes. Devonte Chain, we're just salivating to get him back off the IR. Probably going to touch the ball 10 to 12 times a game. Like, I don't know why Keaton Mitchell can't be one of those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice 5 to 10 touches with an explosive back like that. I mean, you want to roster somebody like that. You want to have him on your bench.
I do want to roster him. He had 1 catch, and I think the concern is you talk about a trap back. Trap back is a guy who doesn't catch passes and doesn't score touchdowns, right? And I think if there's a running back that's going to score touchdowns, it's likely to be Gus Edwards, and I don't think any of them are going to catch that many passes. Maybe Justice Hill. I don't think, and it's kind of my Travis Etienne argument from before this season. Like, I don't think that Keaton Mitchell needs carries inside the 5-yard line to score touchdowns in this offense. If things are going right, it's kind of like DeAndre Swift we saw earlier in the year before teams started playing more against the run. Like if he's got a 5-yard hole, he's so fast, he's just going to go score a touchdown. Same thing with A-Chain. Yeah. It was impressive. He's 7% rostered. I think you will need a quarterback this week because Tua, Mahomes, Hurts, and the Rams are on a bye. So I think Baker Mayfield, he's 63% rostered. He's getting Tennessee. He's actually giving up, I think, the 8th fewest fantasy points. So I'm going to look into that matchup. Taylor Heineke has Arizona, and he's 25% rostered. And I think if he has Drake London, I think then we're talking about a pretty interesting play. But yeah, let's see what the people are saying in the chat. If you have any questions, fire away. Would you trade James Cook for Javonte Williams?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll do that.
Anybody want to rant about Gabe Davis?
No, this is Gabe Davis.
This is the extreme version.
Does Gabe Davis score 26 fantasy points one week and score you 0 the next week? More often than not, I think the 26s will impact your win-loss chances more than the 0s.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I don't feel like it's been as dramatic as last year either. We've got more of the boom games, and that softens the nice little bus games over there. So I don't know. I'm not panicked over that.
Yeah, it was wild. Okay, let's see what else we have here. Adam looks like Nev on Catfish. I don't know what that means. Tara, are you hip enough?
Never seen. I am. You've never seen Catfish?
I don't think
you do have a similar haircut.
Okay. This is believe it or not, one of my better haircuts.
The only does this have something to do with this is like the thing where you pretend to be somebody else online? Like the Manti Te'o thing?
Yeah,
yeah,
Manti Te'o, yeah.
And they go and investigate it. Someone, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is actually like the Manti Te'o story. And Adam looks like somebody in that story?
No, not specifically that one, though.
Oh, okay.
No, I think he just got Catfish. I don't think he was like on Catfish.
Okay, but okay.
It's that concept. Yeah.
So there's a show, but it's not him. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't really watch TV.
I think Pete was trying to say I look like Manti Te'o. Thoughts on Gus Edwards and Jaylen Waddle rest? Could you have chosen two more different players? But Gus Edwards and Jaylen Waddle rest of season.
Gus is a low-end number 2 running back that some weeks is going to frustrate you and some weeks is going to score. And I still think Jaylen Waddle, like we've had some ups and downs with that Jaylen Waddle, T. Higgins, Chris Olave, Devonte Smith crew that were all being drafted around round 3, maybe late round 2. And I think we've kind of settled back on the spot where they're all going to probably be pretty close to what we drafted them to be. Maybe slightly worse because some guys passed them, but number 2 wide receiver.
The only thing I am worried about with Waddle, and this more so ties to Tua, there's a very specific pattern with Tua and the fact that he does have those games where he struggles when they're facing a strong opponent. Not that he struggles from a fantasy, from a real football perspective, he's fine. But from a fantasy perspective, he just doesn't have that upside to get you there. And the volume isn't there. If the touchdowns aren't there, then Jaylen Waddle is suffering as well. So there's a little concern there.
Yeah, just remember with Waddle, when you look at his game log, the last 2 games he's played, he's been hurt, both of them. I'll check his snap counts. It was 70, 75. No. Oh, it was 2 of the last 3. I'm sorry. 2 of the last 3. 45% at Philly, snap share, 54% against the Chiefs. So just keep that in mind. And Edwards, I mean, who's the best? Like, who's your favorite Ravens running back, Heath?
It's Gus. But I do want to go back to Waddle for a second because I do think one other thing, and I talked about this last week, but I'm going to be talking about it more as we get into the people making trades for the playoffs portion of the season. Waddle in the fantasy playoffs will face the Jets, the Cowboys, and the Ravens.
Yeah.
Like, if you think this team's kind of fraudulent and is beating up on bad teams and struggling with good teams, it's going to be tough sledding in the fantasy playoffs for all of them.
Yes.
Did you see the Eagles' upcoming schedule? Their next 3 games.
They play the Chiefs after the bye, right?
It's Chiefs, Bills, Niners, I think. I think that's their next 3 games. It's pretty exciting stuff. All right, speaking of the Eagles, they're on a bye. Would you start Baker, Josh Dobbs, Howell, or Russell Wilson next week?
I am very pro Sam Howell. I think this trend continues of high volume with a bad defense.
Agreed. I do think like that Baker, Dobbs, Russ group, I'm still working through my projections process, but they all 3 look to be low-end starters this week. So if they're all 3 available, I probably wouldn't make any of them a big priority. I just maybe bid a buck on all of them and you'll get one of them.
I want to do some research. I think I'm just spitballing here. I feel like every time Russell Wilson is on national TV since he's joined the Broncos, he's horrible. You guys get that feeling? I feel like everybody hates him because when they see him, he's the worst quarterback in the world. I mean, that Thursday night game against the Chiefs.
It's the Andy Dalton effect, right?
That does make sense.
Whatever it is, but he's Monday night at Buffalo in week 10.
I'm going to look up his evening splits.
Okay. Okay.
That's right. We did get the news. They will not be flexed. They had to announce that. They will not be flexed.
You starting Justin Fields on Thursday against the Carolina Panthers, or Kyler Murray. Welcome back, Kyler Murray against the Falcons.
Fields, if he plays.
That 100% depends on how the practice goes. Just I need some kind of reports or visuals of him throwing or something.
Talking about Fields or Kyler?
Yeah, I
which
mean,
one?
If he's fine, then Fields. But I'm concerned.
I'm excited to get Kyler Murray back. He's always fun. Is Tank Dell a must start every week?
Oh, I'm gonna let Tara handle this one because I got into a fight on Twitter with Chris about Tank Dell and had to go for a walk.
Okay, I don't know which way that leans. So yeah, I think he's a weekly top 36 receiver. I think that he is a low-end wide receiver too that you can trust with high upside, and then you can flex him at the very least. So that's the way that I look at him. Every single week, I'm looking at my flex spot and I'm feeling and comparing him to who else is there. And he's usually panning out to someone who I feel like I can trust. Not a must start, but a strong flex.
I think he's a must start this week against the Bengals. I think he's a must start the following week against Arizona. And then if we get through those two games and he'd had back-to-back duds, then we're probably changing our opinion again, and he's not a must start anymore. But the next 2 weeks, I would view him as a must start. He has it just depends on how much you want to Azer stat his splits. But if you just look at the 5 games that he played more than half the snaps, he's averaging 17 fantasy points per game. I can't sit that.
He's had 2 terrible games, though, right?
Well, he didn't really play week 1.
No.
And he left week 5 with a concussion.
I think other than that, he's had 2 terrible games. Am I wrong?
I think
week
you're
4
right,
and 7. Week 4, he had 1 catch for 16 yards.
Yeah.
Week 8, they had a bye week 7. Week 8, he had 3 catches for 16 yards. So that's tough. I mean, they're tough. I think they're one of the toughest teams to preview because I can't really figure out the pattern. Right. Oh, this is Tank Dell week is a Nico. That doesn't really exist.
I'm just going to, and this could be wrong, I'm going to presume the rookie is going to get better or more consistent. Like if he's shown that type of upside 3 times in 7 games, I'm willing to bet on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Well,
Go ahead. Sorry. What happened to the short juice of Gabe Davis with knocks out? Fool you. Yep. It was a big trick.
Well, we weren't really expecting like slant king Gabe Davis this week. We were like, he was ranked higher than he normally is. They had some guys on a bye and some backup quarterbacks playing, but he is what he is.
I was hopeful that he had transformed a little bit into a more.
And maybe Tank Dell is him too. We'll find out.
Maybe.
Good point.
Would you? Oh yeah, go ahead.
No, it's just I thought I'm very pro Khalil Shakir, so I thought that the slot usage wasn't really going to go to Gabe a lot.
Would you start Derek Carr, Kyler Murray, or Deshaun Watson in Week 10?
So I could start Kyler over that.
Yeah, Kyler's got Atlanta, Carr's at Minnesota, and Watson's at Baltimore.
I don't have my my projections for next week done yet, but not Watson. Certainly not Watson. Probably Carr, but maybe Murray.
Carr's upside is so capped by Taysom Hill. It's really a shame. By the way, 3 straight games where Alvin Kamara has had a carry go down to the 1-yard line, and Taysom Hill has scored subsequently. on 2 rushing touchdowns and actually a receiving touchdown last week. But it's crazy. All right. Dynasty question. If you're contending, would you trade Amon-Ra St. Brown for Kupp and Keenan Allen?
Oh, man.
Here's the thing. Like, if Matthew Stafford was 100%, or if you feel good about Matthew Stafford playing the second half of the season, I would do that. Because I think it's almost like for this year, you're doubling Amon-Ra St. Brown. You have 2 of him now. And flags fly forever. The Stafford thumb thing does complicate it a little bit. And so I think you just have to, and this is like, I think you have to decide how comfortable you feel with Stafford.
I think it's fair. The only problem is maybe I would kind of like feel out my league because like I know I roster Kupp and Keenan Allen in a league, and I know for a fact that when the season is over and if I'm done contending and want to sell Keenan Allen, I'm not getting what I think he's worth. I know that for a fact. So
no, I think in the offseason, if you get a first and a second for Kupp and Keenan, you've done well, and I wouldn't trade Amon-Ra for a first and a second. So I agree with that. Like future, you're definitely giving up a lot in future value.
That's
all right. How about this question? I struggle with this one, guys. What do you think about Kenneth Walker rest of the season? 2 straight games where Charbonnet's played more snaps than him.
I've tried to make excuses for it. Like the prior week, I said, okay, he was dealing with an injury all week, calf injury. Maybe that was the reason. Then last week, okay, well, blowout. Maybe, they just decided that, they needed passing downs and that favors obviously Zach Charbonnet. But I feel like we can't make excuses anymore, unfortunately. He's eating into the workload and we have to have a positive game script for Kenneth Walker to get a strong amount of carries. I still think he's the lead back, but the problem is that it's got to be a very specific script for him to have a strong game that he was having before.
Probably the script that we're going to see this week.
I hope so.
I would say that as of right now, I still view him as a borderline running RB1, and I'm being a little bit stubborn in doing that. And if he falls on his face this week, there will be a drastic change in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's kind of I'm in the same boat. Let's see. Would you trade away Aaron Jones for Bijan Robinson? No, yeah. I wouldn't. I wouldn't.
I would for sure.
Okay,
for sure.
You're that confident, huh?
Yeah.
I struggle to answer this one because theoretically I would, but I really it's an Arthur Smith thing purely. It really is. Like this is a fine trade. It's a smart trade. It's just Arthur Smith, man.
I get it, and I don't want to be complaining about that. But also, Aaron Jones might as well be Aaron Rodgers, as old as he is, turns 29 in less than a month, and is battling a chronic hamstring issue. And yeah, they just gave him 24 catches, and everything was fine once. I think it's a ticking time bomb.
I don't know. Why can't he have just gotten healthy?
Yeah,
he might have.
Because like Keenan Allen did the same thing last year where he, came back kind of out the issue, then came back and then was like on fire and healthy back half of the season. So it could happen for Aaron. So I'm not as skeptical. I'm okay with sticking with him.
My hope for Bijan, I said this on the show this afternoon, gets the Cardinals this week, have a big game, and then they have their bye, and then they just he just has so much momentum coming off a big game against the Cardinals. But I also hope that they lose to the Cardinals and that we get a new coach at the bye. That would be even better.
I don't.
Or he needs to be coaching for his job and say, all right, this is enough already. I need the guy who's averaging 1.7 more yards per carry than my other running back.
To be clear, I think and I am pro the anti-Arthur Smith, but if that makes any sense,
yeah,
I do think that he is doing what he thinks is the best to win the game.
And he's
it's as if he could be more motivated and then he would give Bijan. He thinks he's making the right decisions.
Well, if maybe he gets a little pressure from the front office. Take that.
I don't feel like he will. And that's why I don't feel like he'll also get fired mid-season either. I just don't see Arthur Blank doing that. I don't see it.
Higgins, Ridley, Dell, Moore, JSN, Quentin Johnson. You have a gut feeling who your top 2 are going to be?
Well, it says sit 2, so I think we got to go bottom 2.
Okay. Yeah,
which is much easier. JSN and Quentin Johnson.
Yeah, it's the back half.
There you go. Is it time to drop Dameon Pierce?
No, I don't think so. I mean, it's not like Singletary came out there and actually looked good. So no, I don't think it's a job loss or anything.
You don't spike drop him. And it's not a great week on the waiver wire. But if he's the worst person on my bench, I don't have any problem with it. I just don't think there's that much risk of, and this will probably come back to bite me, but of him being like a difference maker.
All right, what do you guys think? You got a tight end target? All the ones we like are like 80% rostered or more, but there's a chance that some of them are available. But go ahead.
Is Logan Thomas still like 55%?
Yes, he's in the 60% range.
That's the guy for me.
The only like low rostered option that I find mildly appealing is Kate Otten.
Yeah. And Johnny's like 30 or 40%. So if you just want to bet on Arthur Smith continuing to troll us,
yeah,
which is a good bet.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Yep. Dynasty question: would you trade Jamar Chase for Devonte Smith and Chris Olave?
I don't know what. I guess you're just thin at wide receiver, and so you're trying to get some depth. As a rule, I don't like giving up the best player in the deal, but I think this is enough. I'm going to check the trade chart now while Terra talks and see if I agree with myself.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. Just because realistically, not that Chris Olave is Jamar Chase, he's not, but realistically, at least we know he is the wide receiver one of his team, and if he just gets that quarterback upgrade or something pulls through, he can at least get near that level. So I'm okay with that.
So I have Chase valued at 50 points, the number one player on the trade chart. Olave and Devonte Smith come in at 56.1. I generally tell people if you're giving up the best player in the deal, you should get a 10% premium. So it's a slight win.
Okay. I wanted to ask you about 2 players whose value is theoretically increased due to injury. And that would be Alexander Mattison with Cam Akers out for the season. Tough break for Cam Akers. That really stinks. And Devonte Smith with Dallas Goedert potentially going on IR. How big of a boost are we giving these 2 players, Devonte Smith and Alexander Mattison, Tara?
Not a big one for Alexander Mattison, just because we've seen how that tracks before. But with Devonta Smith, 100%. I think that there's true league winning upside. And if you can target and grab him, yes, because we've got that direct comparable to 2022 when Dallas Goedert went out with like a 5-week span with an injury. And that was when Devonta Smith really came into his own in the back half of the season. So yeah, you take away those Dallas Goedert targets, Devonta Smith is back to top 10 upside, in my opinion.
This is exactly what happened. He was not a top 30 wide receiver. Goddard got hurt, and he ended up, I think, had more targets than AJ Brown rest of season. That's the big difference right now, though, is that AJ Brown is just on another level. But yeah, it's going to be a good thing for Devontae, I guess. Would you rather have Devonte Smith or Devonte Adams?
I think Devonta Smith. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you trade CJ Stroud for Evan Ingram?
I'd rather not.
Yeah, I feel like I can get that production. I can stream that production somehow.
Oh my gosh, look who's here. You think that's really him, Heath?
Yes. 100%.
Wow.
Wow.
I gotta bring my A game. This is
that is terrible. And what's worse is we probably ranked it that way, except I think I had McBride over Jonnu both weeks. I'm hopeful. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, the nice thing is I think with Kyler back and the Browns no longer on the schedule, that you just start Trey McBride the rest of the season. You drop Jonnu Smith so you don't have to look at his stupid score ever again.
I agree with that.
All right. Do you think Dobbs will help Madison with his running ability? By the way, are you guys completely convinced that Dobbs is going to be the quarterback? I didn't watch Jaron Hall, but actually the numbers were pretty good. So just curious, are you completely convinced Dobbs will be the quarterback, and do you think he'll help Madison's rushing ability?
I think he's got to start this week and see. I mean, if they win again, then I think he's the starter. And maybe a little bit, but it's not like the backs. I guess Connor was. Everybody else has been kind of inefficient. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a tick up in his yards per carry, but also maybe a tick down in his total rush attempts.
Yeah,
We
I would
had
agree
a
with
debate, James Conner or Tony Pollard rest of season. Who are you taking? Who you taking?
I would prefer to have James Conner. I would.
If you told me that James Conner is like 100% right now and just waiting to be activated, then it's definitely James Conner.
Okay. Dell, Rice, or Flowers rest of season?
Dell.
Yep, Dell.
Over Flowers. Okay. Heath with the short hair kind of looks like he could have a man bun that you can't see.
I had long hair for several years, and I tried the man bun for a while, and I don't know how you ladies do it. That having my hair pulled tight to the back of my head, it's just so annoying. I mean, it made me a jerk.
It all stems from the man bun. I think Schaefer has a man bun, doesn't he?
He does.
Yeah,
apparently it doesn't bother him having his hair pulled tight, but I don't enjoy it.
I don't know if this is a rest of the season or next week question, but Njoku or McBride?
McBride, both.
Yeah.
How do you? Okay. All right. Fine.
How do you know? How do I what?
I don't know Zach Ertz's status. I know he's on IR, but I don't know how long he's out. And the same thing with Kincaid. I don't know how long Dawson.
If I get 2 to 3 more weeks of Trey McBride being what I think he's going to be, and then have to stream tight end the rest of the year, I'd rather have that than David Njoku.
Okay. That's a good answer.
I must not do that very often. You seem taken aback.
Who should I try to easy man bun? Who should I try to trade of these three? I'd trade Stroud.
Yeah. Stroud or Fields. I don't feel people just don't believe in Kyler. You're not going to get anything of value. People are too skeptical.
I would be shopping Fields and Stroud, and I would trade whichever of those two I could get the most for.
What happened there? You got me?
I would be shopping Fields and Stroud, and I would be shopping whoever I could get the most for.
Did you hear anything I said over the last 15 seconds?
Tara, have I responded to the question twice in full?
Yeah, we're good. Something's going on with Adam. Oh no!
I think Adam's having a problem. I think it's just me. I think it's really Tara time now. I think this is an important question. Why is nobody eating yogurt? And I don't know what that is about. I do like the fact that Adam's just like completely frozen. But did somebody eat yogurt, or are they referencing the mayonnaise in the coffee?
I don't know. That's a good question. Do adults eat yogurt?
Are you kidding me? I have yogurt regularly.
Really?
Like almost daily.
I can't remember the last time I've eaten yogurt.
The little Solo packets, that's my dessert after I eat my lunch or dinner. So maybe I am a 5-year-old.
Well, my dessert is actual chocolate chip cookie dough. So I don't know if I'm like very much so an adult either.
There we go. You got to have a little bit of desserts.
Yes.
People, Greek yogurt. You can put that in your coffee.
True. Greek yogurt. I was healthy once upon a time.
Key lime pie yogurt is the best. I really like the banana cream yogurt. It's really good, and the strawberry cheesecake yogurt as well. Dave eats frozen yogurt. I don't eat frozen yogurt. I eat regular yogurt. Tara, did you hear that Adam cursed on the show today?
I did, and I missed. Usually I listen, but I missed this one, and I hate that I missed it.
Thomas, can you show me this guy that Adam looks like? Since we don't have Adam on the show, we can just put this guy on the show. Hey, Adam, No, he's moving as much as Adam was earlier. So this guy is significantly more attractive than Adam, right, Tara?
Neve is a handsome guy.
Oh, any more questions in the chat? Yeah, he's he looks a little bit scary as well. We got catfished, apparently. We did. Tara, what do you think about Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall tonight? Are we going to get like Chargers defense is bad, these two guys completely ball out together, big 40-point performance from the two of them?
Between the two of them, yes, I think that can happen. Now, I think the vast majority of it will come from Breece Hall, clearly. But I would love to see a nice, like, massive final. Like, Garrett Wilson's been very steady, very, reliable wide receiver too. But if we could get a nice Garrett Wilson and a good Zach Wilson game right here, maybe this could be a nice Zach Wilson game where he gives us a nice, like, 20 fantasy point performance.
I've been waiting for this moment because it's go time. I'm down by 32 points in my dynasty league. I have Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson. He has CJ Mosley, who's probably going to score another 10. So I'm probably down 42. I have Aiden Hutcherson currently in my starting lineup because I have to drop Joshua Kelly if I want to pick up another defensive lineman. The defensive lineman I pick up might give me like 2 or 3 points. I might lose anyway. Yeah. Is it worth giving up Joshua Kelly for this long shot chance at a win? Or do you just ride out the loss?
How deep is it? Like, if you drop Joshua Kelly, is he gone permanently?
I'm going to probably have to spend 20% of my fab next week to get him if I want him. It's 28-man rosters, 14-team league.
I would do it.
You do it. You're going to go for the win.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm going to go pick up what defensive lineman can I get in this game? Jermaine Johnson. That is it. Somebody's dropping Roschon Johnson. It sounds like Khalil Herbert is going to be activated. He's at least the window's been open to return. We don't know for sure he's playing on Thursday. Deontay Foreman's been really good. What do you think this backfield split looks like? And is Roschon Johnson droppable? Is it over?
It's interesting because I feel like, so the reason why I feel like Foreman was the one that was inactive earlier is because the skill sets between Foreman and Herbert match up too much. So having Herbert and Roschon Johnson made sense, and deactivating Foreman and having pass catching back in there as the third option just made sense for special teams and everything. So I don't know. I really feel like I can't predict because I feel like it's more of a personnel question. Like, do they just genuinely believe that Foreman is the better option to be in tandem with Herbert, or are they going to go back to what they originally had? I don't know if it's a talent thing that's going to happen because Foreman has performed well, but this could be just a personnel situation.
So we've got a terrible thing going on now. I'm also the commissioner in this league, Tara, and I know this is exactly what everybody wants to hear about. But for some reason, CBS won't let me take Aiden Hutcherson, who's on a bye, out of my starting lineup.
Oh, no.
And a good thing that Adam's hopefully going to come back at some point because I'm going to need some fantasy cops here because I think I'm going to go ahead and use the commissioner override to make that lineup change for myself. Is that okay?
I think that's okay. I think so.
Good answer.
The person, if you win,
I would do
the person you beat,
else.
Mayhem and Hobb. But yes, it's fair.
That's exactly what I think. I'm making the move. Trey, McBride, or Tamm Hill rest of season.
I mean, McBride's an actual. So I'm not concerned about Zach Ertz because we didn't really hear anything in terms of an actual timeline with Zach Ertz. So in my opinion, I'm just kind of writing this one off as he's not really coming back for a while. We've heard nothing. There was no information. So I'm Trey McBride for me.
Trey McBride for me. I agree. Why would you bring Zach Ertz back when you're like 1-13? Yeah, you're not really even trying to win. Kyle has my support. He says it's okay. Adam has the New York Giants of internet providers. Tara, any hope at all for Saquon Barkley with Tommy DeVito playing quarterback the rest of the year?
Yeah, he's going to get like 30 plus carries and it's going to result in like 16 fantasy points. So the volume will be there. Yeah, that's the hope there. Solid floor, limited upside.
I think that's probably right. Tyler says I'm cheating and abusing commission privileges live on air. If you're going to do it live on air so everybody knows that you did it. This is my notification to the league. I used my commissioner privileges to change my lineup when the system wouldn't let me. Lindsay says it's okay. Adam, Fantasy Cops, play the music.
Oh, okay. Well, I hope it doesn't freeze my computer, but
okay. So I just dropped Joshua Kelly at the last minute to pick up Jermaine Johnson, Jets defensive lineman. And then for some reason, when I went to change my lineup, it wouldn't let me put him in for Aiden Hutcherson, even though he's on a bye. So I would have made that change for anyone else. So I just went ahead and used my commissioner privileges to make that change for myself. And there are now people calling me a cheater in the chat.
Yeah, they should. So what's the rule? How's it written in the league? What are the lines?
You can take a player out up until 5 minutes before their game, and Hutcherson didn't have a game this week.
That's so interesting. I wonder why it wouldn't let you do that.
I think it was not locked because I almost did this before the Sunday night game, and it was not locked then. I believe it locked overnight. I think it was just some sort of mistake in the system.
We don't really get mistakes in the system, but okay. You just have to notify the entire league of what you're doing. You have to establish the precedent. And
I'm doing it right now.
I really hope you win by however many points Jermaine Johnson. I really hope this just blows.
The best possible thing that could happen is that he gets like a sack fumble recovery in the end zone to determine this game. The second best thing that could happen is no, that wouldn't be good at all. If Joshua Kelly became very valuable tonight. Hopefully that doesn't happen.
Well, we know what happens when Eckler does go down, so the value really isn't there anyway. So
let's see here. We can actually help someone. Should I drop Laporta or Ingram for Everett? They need 12 points from Keenan Allen. And no, I don't. What do you think? I definitely don't drop Laporta.
Oh man,
I need 12 points for Keenan Allen.
I'm going to say from Keenan Allen.
Oh, I see. You have Laporta. Well, drop Ingram. Let's go get it.
Okay.
You're going to miss Evan Ingram when you have Laporta?
Yeah, don't drop
That's
Laporta no matter what.
Yeah.
I have Laporta and Taysom Hill. Do I just flex Taysom Hill rest of season?
Depends on who else you got. But yeah, you can roll them both out if he is the better option.
Breece Hall and Chargers D. I'm down 11.7. I'm good, right?
Yeah. And they have no one else.
You're good.
Yeah, you're gonna win easily.
I do kind of look like the catfish guy, don't I?
Tara said that he was a lot more attractive.
I did not say that.
I thought
that was Heath.
I thought the same thing. All right, who wins tonight? That's what we started with. That's what we'll end with. I guess I'll read one more question after this. But we all think the Chargers are going to win. And nope, that's not what I meant. All right, that's fine. Would you stick with Lamar Jackson or trade for Fields and then some?
Oh, it depends on what the and then some is.
If you can get another starter, I'd do it.
Yeah.
Swift or Gibbs rest of season?
That's a fantastic question. I will go with Swift.
Swift.
Yeah, Swift. Okay. We're Swifties. Enjoy the game, everybody. I'm sorry for my technical issues. I understand the show got more attractive and improved while I was out. So that's great stuff. Thanks to Tara, thanks to Heath, thanks to Thomas. And have a great night. We'll talk to you tomorrow with the waiver wire. See ya.